my privilege to introduce someone very special. It is the Senior Australian of the Year, Mr. Charles Jackson, with the Order of Australia, and Adnyamathanha man from the Flinders Rangers, who will speak on child safety and child protection services from his perspective as a First Nations. He is uniquely qualified, having worked with Aboriginal children for more than 50 years. In one incredible lifetime, Charles has worked as a drover, a marriage celebrant, a cultural awareness teacher, a board member, a services coordinator, and an NDIS officer. Please join me in welcoming him to the stand.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for the warm welcome. I'm really grateful to be here on Kaurna land to be able to speak to you, and it's a privilege to be invited as a guest speaker. I wouldn't have thought that 65 years ago that I'd be standing here talking about exactly what happened to me and my family. That when my three nieces and a nephew were actually taken from NAPCAN in 1960. And here I am today talking about the same thing. 65 years is a long, long time. And I would have thought that there'd be many changes to be able to work with, for and through the Aboriginal community to be able to come up with a solution in terms of how can we stop the removal of our children into another environment or a family structure that's not suitable for us. I worked with the Aboriginal Family Support Services here in Port Augusta, Whyalla and Port Pirie. And I used to attend the family conferences as a cultural advisor, as a child advocate. So I don't really know what that means, but the purpose of it was that these conferences actually organised by the Children Court from Wright Street here in Adelaide. The coordinator or the chairperson of that was, of course, of non-Aboriginal descent. The social workers were of non-Aboriginal descent. Just in respect to social workers is that some of these were just recently graduated from university with that qualification. I think sometimes that we've got to have a practical experience as well. My dear mother, she gave birth to 14 children. Mum and Dad, and including myself, we were all born in a creek bed. And here I am today, standing in this environment with a necktie on, with all the credential that the MC talked about. And so in other words, when you go back through history, that before colonisation, that we had a very strong cultural structure. Unfortunately, after colonisation, that structure has been dismantled. And when I used to do those family conferences, My role is to be able to, as a cultural advisor, is to talk about the cultural background of children's. But also I was there to be able to support maybe a single parent or parents and even grandparents, so that the authorities could actually understand that, taking the children away from that comfort zone, from that family structure, it just creates an intergenerational trauma. So what happens today, if we don't actually come to terms in what's going to happen into the future, are these young people going to be standing here 65 years from now talking about the same thing? And also one of the things that I was doing is to be able to go and advocate on behalf of the children. Some of them who couldn't speak for themselves, but others who could speak for themselves. And my role then would take that back to the family conference and to talk to the authorities about the well-being of these children. But the difficulty for me is that to be able to sit in a conference like this, when you see mothers, fathers, grandparents, they want nothing less but the kids to be able to remain within the family. But unfortunately, I think the system or the policy does not cater for, how can we work with the family? The first thing is to be able to take the kid away and to be able to make sure that the children are protected. Earlier this year, I had a telephone call from Victoria. A social worker rang me from Victoria, and she said to me, Mr. Jackson, your name has been given to us that you might be able to connect these two children that was taken away from Narang, Point Pearce, York Peninsula. So in other words, that they didn't have any background in terms of, especially in terms of the connection of the children to their family, their biological family. One of the things that I used to say to DCP is that what we need to do is to be able to help Aboriginal communities to be able to establish a genealogy, because the genealogy actually identifies the family structure, the birthplace and the families and so on. And so that when they do go into these conferences, then they're able to identify the biological family connected to those family. Because I suppose for myself is that one of the things that I've found is that when it gets to a stage whereby the kid's going to be removed, even the department don't know the family of this child. And I think because if we just continue to take children from their biological family, they will not only that they will lose their family structure, but they will lose their identity, they will lose their culture, and they will lose their well-being in terms of when they grow, because I am 100% sure, and because, you know, I'm at a stage now whereby that I'm on the downhill, I suppose, that whereby that my time is going to come to an end, all right? I just want to let people know that I don't think so that I'm going to see a dramatic change in terms of children who've been removed from their biological family during my lifetime. I mean, you know, there are some data in terms of, you know, what has been recorded, that it says that if nothing changes in South Australia, 140 in every 1,000 Aboriginal children will be in state care by 2031. So are we creating employment for people within the bureaucracy, or are we saying, hang on a sec, instead of we investing that sort of a money, why don't we invest more money in actually working with the Aboriginal families so that they can establish themselves, they can build the foundation, and so that these kids will not be taken into an environment whereby that they are treated as you know, not being accepted. And I think what the minister and Uncle Dale is here with us, and the Minister Katrina Illiard, she made an announcement about 4 weeks ago with this new policy, and that policy is talking about exactly what I was doing about 5 to 10 years ago. All right, how can they work with the Aboriginal families, all right, so that the children can be fostered out or to remain in their family structure, so that they won't lose their identity. So I, in my role, I suppose, as Uncle Dale there, that I'm also a member of the Voice to South Australian Parliament. And I think we're going to start rattling the cage. All right. And otherwise I won't be identified as Action Jackson. Thank you very much.